guys! Welcome back to the channel. This is Chapter 9 of Mornstar, the Maiden Voyage. As always, please don't re-upload my stuff, and enjoy! Chapter 9. Long ago I was cast down here, sealed away in a dark place deprived of all knowledge, a truly terrible way to live. So I broke my own seal after a time, and went in search of more knowledge. True, I broke from my tomb, but still I am but a prisoner here. I have seeked skill and memory for a time older than man, but still there is more to be found. I had scoured the earth in search of this, but time made me docile. The humans had such pleasure in their minds that I could only wonder how I could achieve something like that. I wandered the world and lurked in the shadows. I had no wish to find my comrades. They wished only to devour the humans despite their vast knowledge. Therefore, I wandered alone. Vast canyons and valleys, huge forests and mountains, likes of which I had never seen before. But still, I yearned for a place of boundless knowledge. When I came here, I found many records of the past and of make-believe worlds. Knowledge was what I came here for, but I found pleasure in the art of thoughts, things that people had made up. They were not of truth or reality, but they were beautiful in a sense only those who have done this can see. I have carried my seal tablet with me for many years. You may take it with you. But I shall stay in this place a little longer. There is much more for me to learn and discover. As for Polaris, you said you wished to find it. I would be grateful to never return there, but I do have scraps within my vast collection that may help you. Let me see. Ah, yes. Polaris, the city that follows the sun and stars, the place of rich history, yet of lost history. The people of the stars, the king of the skies. It may be found where it has fallen, obviously, but you want more information than that. Let's see. I can't give you a straight answer as I am a curse, but of course. Follow the path the star people take. They will lead you there, but only the daughter of the Sky King and the heir of Curse's caste can save this world from coming doom. Beware of men, beware of us. Find them, and bring Polaris skyward bound. Dillon finished reading, and the book closed. A drawer beneath it opened to reveal the tablet. It had a small crack running through it, but the text was still intact. The curse of the mind. This one has the power to speak through your mind and make you go crazy with all the voices in your head. I believe it also has the desire to contain every ounce of knowledge within this world, but it seems it has broken that desire for true happiness. Dawn explained as she took the tablet in her hand. And it won't eat us? Dillon took the tablet when she handed it to him. No, it seems it gave up that quality for better search of knowledge. How did it break its seal? I think it had that type of knowledge already, so it simply used that to its advantage. It knew that to break the seal, it had to break the item that held the seal, so it worked hard to break the tablet. Even such a tiny crack could break the seal? Yes, even a tiny breakage would break the seal. The riddle was a strange one. It was not difficult to solve, at least the first part, but the others were slightly more challenging. Well, the people of the stars are the people of Polaris. What was their path? The people of Polaris follow the sun. It is our compass and our guide through the day. Then we have to follow the sun? Yes, Polaris is ever moving toward the sun, so it would make sense that it kept going toward the sun as it fell. But the sun is in two directions. It rises in the east and sets in the west. What do we follow, the rising sun or the setting sun? We follow where the sun goes. The sun moves to the west, so we also go west. Therefore, we should follow the setting sun. They now had sufficient information to lead them to Polaris. They left the library and scanned the heavens for the sun. It was afternoon, so the sun was in the perfect direction for following. They set off west across the ashen field. They followed the sun until it was some time in the evening, when they came across what they presumed was a power plant of some sort. It was overgrown with vines and completely abandoned, but it was an incredibly large place, to say the least. They had been walking for hours and were very tired. They were going to sit down and rest a while when a great red car pulled up not too far away. There was no grass to hide in here. A man dressed in black got out and looked around. His mouth moved, but it could not be heard what he said. More men got out of the car. Dawn and Dillon sat very still and were very alert. The men had returned. Their eyes darted for somewhere to hide. They were sure to be seen where they were. There were 7 men in the car. They started to wander, and one of them had a device in their hands. "Remember, we have to find that energy," he barked to the others. They were wandering all around to find this energy when one man turned his head and looked directly at them. He stared for a while to process. "Uh-oh, looks like they found us," Dawn whispered. "Let's hide in the power plant." They started running. The man finally realized and called attention to it. "Boss, it's them kids. They're making a break for it." All the men started chasing them as they dashed by the car and toward the metal structure. Surprisingly, there were not a lot of hiding places inside. There weren't even a lot of doors, but when one was found, the children dashed inside and barred the door from the inside. The men tried to break it down, but Dawn had turned it to lead. Of course, the men had no actual tools for breaking down doors, so they used their legs, but they made no dents. Time was running out, and Dillon was searching for a way out. He came across a vent, but was too big to squeeze through. He banged on walls for a while when he noticed a hinge in the wall, then another, and another. It was a door. "Dawn, I've got something." Dawn had been holding the lead transformation to restore any that chipped away. She dropped the spell and ran to help Dillon push the door. Someone had gotten a hold of a megaphone outside.
"All right, kids. There's no place for you to go. Surrender now. We've got the place surrounded. We will resort to violent measures."
They worked the door, but it just wouldn't open. Dawn shook her head and pulled out her king's crest. She turned the door to dust, and they were able to get into the passage. "Those guards are stupid, but not this stupid. They'll see we went through here," Dillon pointed out. Dawn used her power again to make the door back to normal. When she did, all light fled the passage, and they were left in the dark. They heard the door break down outside. The room filled with the confused shouts of men with the orders of their boss breaking over them. They kept moving forward in the dark abyss, and the voices grew dimmer and further away. Eventually, their outstretched hands found an end to the passage. At first, they thought perhaps it was a dead end, then that the passage went on in another direction, but examination dithered that thought. They felt around until their hands closed upon a smooth metal handle. It turned and clicked. They pushed, and it opened. Another dark room, but it had a twinge of light from a flickering wall lamp. Dawn found a switch on the wall and tried it. The lights came on. Blueprints were scattered among the debris on the floor. It looked like some explosion had consumed the room. Everything was in piles: desks, papers, books, metal, and other random bits of wood. Pinned on the wall was a map of the place in blueprint form. A logbook sat nearby, untouched. Dillon picked it up and began to skim the pages. Dawn studied the map, trying to first find where they were, then find a way out. "I don't think this place is a power plant," said Dillon as he flipped a page. "What do you mean?" "It says here that this was a rocket testing facility. I don't know why they wanted rockets, but they might have written it down." "I've heard about rockets. They scare me. It's like the ground below is trying to restore their knowledge of flying things by building burning metal boxes. It isn't like the hard energy at all." "Scared of rockets? They may be the key to the next era. Imagine being able to live in the sky. Oh. Dawn was giving him a look. He then remembered that this was not new to her. She came from the sky, idiot. She doesn't need to imagine it. "Anyway, this map doesn't show anything important. I can't find where we are." Dillon handed the logbook to her. "Let me see." He quickly saw the problem. "It's a blueprint. It's a map of the unfinalized product. This here is the test yard outside. Then there's the door we went through into that room. The secret door was here, and the passage that leads to this room." "The lab." "What?" "The lab. That's what this place is called, the lab. It says here they were working on a new kind of fuel that would propel their creations to the next atmosphere. What's an atmosphere? The layer of air protecting the Earth. There are many layers to it, but it just keeps going until space, and... Hey, wait! Are you telling me that a person from the literal sky doesn't know about the atmosphere? Well, I don't know what space is either. Dillon softly smacked his face. Space is where the stars live. The sun too? The sun is a star. It's just closer to us than other stars. Oh. We always think of the sun as our compass and guide, the stars as our companions and teachers. To think they are all the same is almost... I can't explain. Dawn didn't ask any more questions. Dillon was able to find a secret way out that led to the rest of the building. He tore the blueprint off the wall to keep with them as a map. The last entry says they tried to launch the rocket Linnea, but an unidentified missile launched without their consent and doubled back. It destroyed the place mostly, but the foundation was still intact. Everyone was running for their lives, and it ends there. Probably because whoever was writing it started running away. They left the book behind, and we were able to read it. Dawn put the book down and followed Dillon as he uncovered another door in the wall. This, too, would not budge. Frames must be buckled from the missile attack, Dillon said, pushing on the door once more. Dawn once again turned the door to dust just as they heard the men on the other side of the passage door. They must have found the door. They rushed through the new door into a small corridor that luckily still had the lights on. There were doors on both sides of the corridor. Dawn renewed the door behind them to buy them some time. Dillon led with the map, turning corners and opening doors. The doors in this part of the facility were not as badly damaged as the others and could be opened easily. There was carpet on the ground in shades of dark green, blue, and gray. The walls were white and light gray, as were the doors. At some points, they could hear the men behind them. Sometimes Dawn would have to break down a door and renew it, but most of the time it was a simple twist and it opened. After navigating the maze of a facility, they finally found the last door that led outside. Once open, it displayed a wondrous scene of forests, plentiful places to hide and disappear from the horrible men. They ran outright to the wilderness beyond, closing the door behind them. They knew the men would wander in there until nightfall and even beyond. They watched from the bushes as the man with the megaphone once again blasted demands.
Come on out, children. We will find you.
What? The doors are buckled? Send in a battering ram, then. The children laughed silently as they watched more men trying to fit the huge battering ram through the small door. When they had watched as much as they dared, they poised to venture further into the forest, when a small orange thing appeared in their vision. Dawn stared at the object with passion yet unknown to her. What is that? She ventured quietly, her eyes still fixed with interest. That? Dillon pointed at the small creature. A cat was sitting in the test yard of the facility very close to where they were hidden. It was cleaning itself, unaware of the secret admirers in the bushes. That's a cat, Dillon replied somewhat robotically. It was sheer shock that brought him to this state. Sheer shock of describing a cat to someone. A cat, Dawn whispered to herself. Dillon could only stare at her watching the cat. What does a cat do exactly? What is its function? I really don't know how to answer that. What am I feeling? It's definitely happiness, but I don't know the cause. Why can't I stop staring? It's like a bubbling fire of happiness is growing inside me. Bubbling fire of violence and happiness. Why do I want to destroy the cat? You think it's cute. Sometimes you feel like squishing the cute thing if you are overstimulated. I felt like that when I met my little sister for the first time. She was so cute I wanted to squeeze her cheeks and bite her face off at the same time. Did you engage in these behaviors? Stop talking like a robot, please. No, I didn't do it. If I did, I would have hurt her. Oh, sorry. When I get excited, I start speaking elaborately. It's a habit, but I guess I can't just go squeeze it, can I? No. 1, you'll get caught. 2, cats have sharp claws and teeth. They don't trust people and will attack if startled. Oh, that makes sense. The cat started walking toward the bushes and caught sight of them. It stood there staring at them with golden eyes. You didn't have any cats or anything on Polaris?
No, no animals of any sort except the occasional bird.
Geez, that's pretty sad. I once had a dog when I was little. He was a good pet, but he lived a long time before I was born, so I didn't have him long.
Pet?
A pet is an animal that belongs to you. It loves you and respects you, but you have to respect it too. Having a pet is a big responsibility. You have to feed it, take care of it, give it water, sometimes clean it, sometimes clean up after it.
A pet sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, but it'll be your friend for the rest of its life. Since some animals don't live as long as us, we try to give them a good life.
I like that. I think when we find Polaris, I will bring cats on board too. Then they can live there and be everyone's pets.
Cats in the sky? That'll be the day I've seen everything. The cat had stared at them this whole conversation. It licked its maw and walked through the bushes a little way away. It then appeared on the path just behind them and sat down.
Look, the cat is just sitting there.
Dawn pointed quietly. The cat followed their movements with golden eyes. It got up and moved further away and sat down again, still staring. I think it wants us to follow it. They got up and slowly followed the cat, who trotted ahead and waited for them to get close before darting off again. It led them to a clearing where a creature was laying. It was like a hybrid of a deer, moose, and gazelle. It seemed injured. By golly, it's a lecky! Dillon quietly exclaimed.
What's a lecky?
It's a deer creature. They're very rare and signify good luck. They were actually an experiment from the government facility that escaped and bred into the wild. People say killing it will bring out good luck, but I don't believe a word of it.
It's hurt. We should help it.
Probably someone who wanted luck. Dawn slowly approached the lecky and kneeled down. The creature reared slightly at her presence, but her soft touch soothed it immediately. She moved her king's crest over its leg wound and held the leg steady. In no time, the cut had vanished. The lecky stood up and nuzzled her, encasing her in its broad antlers. It released her and bounded about the clearing. It's just a juvenile, just a kid. Though it could probably carry the two of us with no problems. Grown leckies can carry 2 grown men on their back and tow a cart of wood filled to the brim. Very hardy creatures. The lecky nuzzled Dawn's hand. The orange cat with the golden eyes appeared and rubbed against the legs of the lecky, then rubbed against the legs of Dawn. It purred and mewed gently.
This is your friend, isn't it? You must have been very worried.
Dawn stretched down and gently pet the cat. Glad we could have helped, but now we have to go. We have a son to follow and men to escape. Dillon started walking backward out of the clearing, addressing the animals.
Goodbye, my friends. Stay safe.
Dawn gently removed her hands from underneath the lecky's chin and began to follow Dillon. He turned around and they began to walk deeper into the forest. It was nearing dawn when they found the lecky, so they followed the darkness for a while. They figured it would be harder for the men to find them in the forest than out in the fields, so they had to stick to the tough terrain. The leaves and vines were hard to see and even more difficult to evade. The roots and low-hanging branches of trees were by far the most difficult to deal with. They would stumble on the roots, for the foliage was so thick they could not see their feet, and the branches would catch their hair and clothes, making them all tangled up. Is it just me, or does it seem like the curse of the dark has gotten out again?
It does seem to be getting darker, doesn't it? I suppose it's simply because there are so many things casting shadows here.
Indeed, it was very dark. It seemed night had fallen on them, when, indeed, it was simply the canopy creating shifting shadows and pools of light. Bright eyes watched them from the bushes, unblinking and unnoticed. It stalked them as they continued bumbling on their way. In the deepening shadows it kept up with silent feet. Not a sound betrayed it. It prowled closer and closer until the children unwittingly came upon another clearing. They stood just a little ways away, but now was not the time. No, now was not the time. Which way now? I can barely see the sun. If we travel in any direction, we could get lost.
It does seem hopeless that we'll ever get out of this forest.
Dawn, we've only been in here for a few minutes, maybe an hour.
Still, I want to get out. I don't like being in a place where I can't see the sun.
Dillon remembered how hesitant and afraid she was in the mine and at the tomb. Those places had been dark, but she didn't seem to fear the dark. You're afraid of places that are dark in the day.
Yes, it's unnatural. Night is dark and day is light. There are places that cast shadows in the sun. There are things that light up the night. The sun guides me. I need it to feel safe.
The sun is still there, just hidden. Like you said, it's just casting shadows.
There is light and hope at night, but there is none of that in these shadows.
Light and dark. It's just life, isn't it? Just a cycle, really.
No, it's a battle for control. Day and night exist in harmony, but the forces they create are always at odds.
Now! The golden-eyed cat jumped out of the bushes at them. It shook off and began to wash itself right at their feet.
The cat! What are you doing here? I thought you were looking after your friend.
Dawn crouched down and began to the cat. Looks like it was. Look. Dillon pointed to the bushes where the Lecky was emerging.
You followed us? But why?
The cat rubbed on her knees. Dawn, I think they want to come with us.
I have a feeling you're right. Are you going to be our new pets?
Pets or friends, they need names. They rambled on, trying to find names for them.
What about Sari for the Lecky and Arumi for the cat?
Dawn finally suggested. I like them. What do they mean?
Sari means silent carrier. In Starliti legends, there was a great creature with 4 legs and antlers like branches. It had giant wings like a hawk, and it was silent. It was said that it was the wisest creature in the world. Arumi means golden eye. It was the name of a great bird that used to let the stars ride on it down to earth. It had golden eyes. It was agreed that Sari and Arumi should become parts of their band. Together they would find Polaris.